So now it is that your girl's recording. Go ahead, let's get into this video, y'all. Now, Loesta, shout outs to you. Drake's new lawsuit changes everything. Oh man, and here we are to go ahead and speak about with this man again. But this is what it is we do. So without further ado, let's get into this video.
Drake hasn't exactly been pulling off chess moves in the wake of the Kendrick beef. After transitioning from telling him to drop to telling him to stop on the Hard Part 6, every move he's made since has felt like the wrong one. Seriously, we've literally came to a point where he's calling out Steve Lacy of all people for his involvement in the Ken and Friends pop-out show.
This guy's like a fragile op, but it's a good song though.
What does that mean, a fragile op? No.
Chat knows what I'm talking about.
No, we don't, gang. What does that mean? Oh, what is? I think I said the last time that we was gonna react to like this beef is to figure out what's the problem with Steve Lacy. But like, if you have, man, listen. Like, I don't even know what that means.
But keeping every gangster that was on stage's name out of his mouth and mean mugging NBA players from the sidelines. Yet, even with every attempt to outrun the beef that's backfired on him, Drake's damage control has spun out of hand to the point that he may wound up permanently staining his reputation beyond repair.
Drake, are you serious, bro? I think that like this is one of the worst situations that could have ever possibly happened in hip hop. Imagine you get into a beef with somebody that you want to engage with. Yeah, you got challenged, but then you antagonizing the beef. And it becomes one of the biggest, most looked at situations that's going on publicly, socially. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody can't wait for the next blow to be thrown. And then you get your ass beat. And after you get your ass beat, you start saying it ain't fair. You leave the park with your ball.
It's your boy Loesta, and this is why Drake's UMG lawsuit changes everything. For a brief moment, it looked like Drake was finally trying to move on from the most traumatic summer of his career. After a few features and unveiling his unconventional data dump of 100 gigs, Drake was doing the utmost to suggest that he was at peace with the beef that he described as a good exercise on the Hard Part 6. Or at the very least, that he was unbothered. Just one day earlier to recording this video, he appeared on XQC's stream to puff out his chest and act like he was still the unchallenged king.
Shout out everybody.
I guess I should give a little intro. Like, I'm Drake. This is XQC. Me. I do music. In case you didn't know, I'm here. As you can see, fully intact. Mind, body, and soul. In case you were wondering, right?
Mind, body, and soul.
Mind, body, and soul. You need facts to take me out. Fairy tales won't do it. Cheers to everybody.
Words live by.
Words to live by. Real talk.
In another attempt to undermine the impact of
I still feel like it is you should have went on Kai's stream, but hey, listen, what do I do? You know, still weird energy, still something is. I'm just like, you weird for that
beef. He even announced that his upcoming tour would get underway the same day that Kendrick will perform at the Super Bowl halftime show.
February 9th, for anybody that's watching.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday, so like Super Bowl Sunday, like it's gonna be so lit. Like I can't wait. But like, oh yeah, and whatever it is that Drake got going on.
From Australia. I'm coming back to Australia the first time in 8 years. It's actually, funny enough, called the Anita Max Win Tour.
Really? No, stop.
I swear.
But just as those clips were doing the rounds, news broke that Drake was doing something that no one had anticipated. He began beefing not with Kendrick, but with his own label over the loss he sustained. Despite being signed to a deal with the company, Drake's Frozen Moments LLC accused music industry giants Universal Music Group of launching an illegal scheme, which basically claimed that Kendrick Lamar and the label used bots, payola, and other methods to pump up Kendrick's kill shot of Not Like Us. A diss track which, if you recall, broke several of Drake's previously held streaming records. According to attorneys for Drake's company, UMG did not rely on chance or even ordinary business practices. It instead launched a campaign to manipulate and saturate the streaming services and airwaves. Going one step further, the certified lawyer boy accused UMG of violating the racketeer influence.
You just say certified lawyer boy?
Going one step further, the certified lawyer boy accused UMG of violating the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. According to his petition that was filed in New York, Spotify was said to be recommending the song to users who had searched for unrelated songs and artists after getting the bag from Universal. According to Drake's claims, they even paid Apple for Siri to be transformed into a Kendrick laser. UMG conspired with and paid currently unknown parties to use bots to artificially inflate the spread of Not Like Us and deceive consumers into believing the song was more popular than it was in reality. Online sources reported that when users asked Siri to play the album Certified Lover Boy by Drake, Siri instead played Not Like Us, which contains the lyric Certified Pedophile, an allegation against Drake. But apparently, this didn't come just out of nowhere. And if Frozen Moments' lawyers are to be believed, he raised the issue with them first prior to taking it to court. Drake has repeatedly sought to engage UMG in discussions to resolve the ongoing harm he has suffered as a result of UMG's actions, the petition reads. However, UMG allegedly refused to negotiate, insisting they weren't responsible for their own actions. Instead, the petition claims that UMG's response was to pit the two artists against each other and throw them under the bus. UMG has pointed the finger at Lamar and insisted that Drake should sue his rival rather than the label. He also claims that UMG told him that the label would sue Lamar if Drake ended up filing his own lawsuit. Even if he's using the threat of suing Dot as leverage, it's worth noting that UMG isn't responsible for how Kendrick spends the money that they give him. That's just how advances work. Now, maybe that might be his true intention, but from a hip-hop perspective, suing a fellow rapper in the wake of a rap beef would be unprecedented, and understandably, people are dumbfounded by what they're seeing.
I mean, this is the first time in history that I've said this before. Usually, rap beefs lead into a whole different direction, and it's usually get into some real street shit. I've said this before. However, I've never. I don't even think this is considered gangsta at this point. Like, well, people will look at this just like, oh nah, like you a whole op, you a whole snitch. You like they'll say all different types of miscellaneous names to say it isn't like what you're doing isn't hip hop. It isn't street code. It isn't none of that at the end of the day. Like you went from taunting this man, egging him on, and even had your whole little D Rider academics go ahead and having a countdown of like day X, Y, and Z of no Kendrick drop. All of that. And then now you've completely got your litigation line up. You cut off the braids and said this, oh, I'm about to go start suing people. What? That don't normally happen. He's the first person to do that. And which is insane. I still think this is insane that he's doing this.
You can watch Not Like Us at, the Olympics. You can watch it at campaign events, at the DNC National Convention. You can watch it at basketball games. You hear it in cars. How'd it get so big, right? So Drake is doing an investigation to figure out.
As soon as the news broke, Drake's claims were hit with a lot of skepticism, particularly from those who remember hearing the track everywhere this summer. UMG had absolutely nothing to do with me listening to Not Like Us a gazillion times. But as more and more people have weighed in on the situation and industry professionals have put their own 2 cents in, the whole situation just keeps getting stranger. Because now Drake is gambling his reputation on something that's going to be very difficult for him to prove. When you really delve into the court filing, it's clear that there are 2 major things that Drizzy and his team are trying to prove. 1, that Kendrick's streams were artificially boosted, and 2, that UMG are conspiring to bring him down. With that in mind, some of Drake's recent moves make a lot more sense, like releasing music directly through Instagram and a dedicated website instead of traditional platforms. For example, after the beef with Kendrick, Drake released something called 100 Gigs for Your Head Top. It was a massive drop of archived songs and behind the scenes footage of him creating some of his most iconic tracks and albums. At the time, it seemed like they were gearing up for some kind of documentary, but just all of a sudden decided to make it public. Now, in hindsight, fans are starting to connect the dots. The 100 gig stuff he tried to pull is making a lot of sense now. He was doing all of that to spite UMG, and UMG weren't happy about it. Is this Drake trying to get out of his deal at all costs? Just a month ago, the narrative around Drake and UMG was very different. As when Kanye waded into the beef, he basically said that UMG's CEO, Lucien Grange, had done everything to prop Drake up at every turn.
Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucien and Universal.
Wow.
He's like, man, my daddy got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my daddy controlled the spins. My daddy got the DSPs. My daddy. Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucien.
But whether it was for the loss he sustained or for issues around finances, things have apparently shifted in recent times. Drake and Lucien have been strained for a while because Drake took a slave deal and wanted to negotiate after realizing he's worth way more. Lucien told him to fuck off. Now, that supposed slave deal
Bam. Ever since the boy been throwing shots in his records, even and trying to, bam. Well, that's not good. That's not good.
Might have been worth $400 million. But when you consider how vital Drake is to the music industry's financial ecosystem, there's actually a chance that it undervalued him. In this sense, the whole thing is not specifically about the song, but part of a larger ongoing dispute that he's having with UMG over cash, which is causing him to try and bring the whole system down with him.
Drake's side decided to file this lawsuit not just because of Not Like Us song. It's bigger than the song, which is why Drake is suing the label and not Kendrick directly. From what I was told, Drake feels as if his label is using the money made from them to fund Kendrick Lamar's song, burying him amidst a sensitive label negotiation he's currently in. I agree with that too. So Drake is in this new negotiation, like he even mentioned it before, where he said 400, like it's a low ball. Like, yo, he's trying to get more. Like, reportedly, Drake want to get like 600 mil from this next label. He's kind of consistently shown, I will drop. Remember, Drake didn't drop as much projects as before. He was shown, if y'all want me to drop like NBA Youngboy, I'll drop 3 projects a year. I'll go on tour 4 times a year. Give me the money. Show me the money. Like, give me it. I want 600 million.
Even DJ Academics, a well-known Drake supporter, has suggested that some of Drake's recent issues with his label stem from inadequate rollout strategies. Academics theorized that Drake's release of 100 gigs was a move to demonstrate his independence from record labels during contract negotiations. This shows that Drake may have assumed that all his releases would automatically succeed, and now he's frustrated that this approach isn't yielding the expected results.
I mean, it's not going to at the end of the day, because these record labels, they are only focused on about with getting theirs at the end of the day. You're just a number or the machine to the record label. This is not the first time that we've done a lot of reactions talking about with like music record labels and what they have done to their artists and how they scam them, how they get them in these crazy 360 deals. The deal it is that, you know, they're signed to somebody that's signed to another person that's signed to another person that's signed to a huge music group. You know, that type of stuff at the end of the day. I get what he's trying to do, but here's the issue it is that I have with this. Not only it is what from a consumer standpoint, the listener, the people like us, we've seen this battle. You lost the battle to Kendrick. That's one. Going against a record label and now you're dropping a whole like long 100 gigabyte song and just independently and whatnot, it's going to have a negative effect on what you're trying to do. The record label is not going to take you seriously. They're going to look at you and be like, you know what? Instead of giving you that 600 million it is that you're asking for, that you're trying to negotiate with us, we'll just create another version of you. We'll just get a whole new artist it is that nobody probably has heard of, or maybe somebody else that we've been kind of neglecting, and give them just a little bit of the money and whatnot. So at the end of the day, we still don't even have to go ahead and touch the 600 mil. We can just do like a small fraction of it, maybe a mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, 10 mil, 25 mil, just a low percentage of that 600 mil. And then we create somebody else that goes ahead that have more of a hunger mindset that is going to accept the low ball. So, like I said, I get what he's trying to do, but the problem is now, if you lose this lawsuit, everything of your credibility, everything in your name, respect, you're going to bring the entire... It's not even just Drake anymore. This is bigger. It's bigger than him. It's bigger than Kendrick at this point. Kendrick don't really have anything to do with this at this point, other than the fact it is like, you know, he's been putting out these haymakers and everything. Once it gets to the Super Bowl, if he performs Not Like Us, like the Super Bowl is such a huge performance, you're cooked. Your entire like imagery is cooked, rather if it's the truth or not. Cooked based off of that. Then you lose out on the stuff of the record label. They'll blackball you, all this other stuff. Your career will be done if you lose this lawsuit. This is by far going to be very dangerous for him. And now, I'm not sitting there like, I may not be the biggest Drake fan. He's cool. He's cool. There's some things in this I've always thought it was questionable throughout the years that he's done music, but this by far is going to hurt him way more than what it is that he thinks or what it is that we think. To be honest with you,
Without kind of, any business, no matter what, you're supposed to take some of your profits and put it back into marketing. You're supposed to have a rollout. You're supposed to keep investing to keep getting more and more listeners or eyes or consumers to grow. You're not just to say, I'm the guy, I'm the hottest, and maybe because I'm putting out the hottest music and I'm making some social moves and you see me do a collab with 21 or Future, I don't need to do the other shit. But if you ask me, I think Drake has done that. So I'm not even I'm not saying Kendrick used bots, but if Kendrick had a rollout, I'm not blaming Kendrick at all.
Whatever's the case, the bar that a cease and desist is for hoes has aged like milk.
A cease and desist is for hoes. Can't listen to lies that come out of your mouth.
Yep. And this isn't the first time it is that we're hearing about this. You did the same thing to Rick Ross, or at least that's what it is that he's mentioned. This is not the first time you've done a cease and desist, gang.
As is every attempt to act like he was unbothered by the runaway success of Not Like Us, such as this one from Lil Yachty.
He didn't give a fuck.
Really?
No, he was genuinely unfazed. I respected it a lot, and I talked to him. That shit didn't bother him. As it shouldn't. He's a fucking guy. When I never saw him down, ever. I never saw him kicking his fucking foot, holding his head down. You know, and then to a point where I just stopped talking to him about it because I felt like I was the one bringing him the negativity.
Aside from the reputational damage this might do, and we'll get into that, one of the biggest issues Drake is facing is that the basis for the lawsuit is pretty slim. For one thing, the filing cites an anonymous hacker that even academics wasn't really buying as a source.
What's really interesting about Drake's claim is that if you watch the academics interview, academics questions the veracity, the truth of this guy saying, hey bro, are you sure? Like, somebody promised you points for bot streams? There's producers and engineers and people who feature on songs who don't get a % of the song. And somebody promised you? Academics questioned this guy's story. Anyway, Drake's lawyers saw it fit for a filing in a New York state court, and they say, look, this is some evidence of the bots.
Crazily, it also mentions the Montreal-based NFR podcast 23 times, claiming that petitioner understands that UMG paid the popular NFR podcast to promote Not Like Us and its video without disclosing the payment. This is a bad look for Drake because he's literally coming after guys who are just fans. Like seriously, these are the guys that Drake has a problem with.
She's trying to go.
And not only that, but the NFR podcasts are massive fans who have devoted entire videos to his discography. What's even crazier is that this is a rare instance where he's managed to make a major record company look sympathetic. People on Twitter are supporting a record label versus the actual artist, LOL. What a sight. They are supporting the entity they usually hate. In turn, UMG has absolutely refuted the allegations. And what's worse, their message essentially boils down to a sentiment of, you lost, get over it. In a recent statement, the label said, the suggestion that UMG would do anything to undermine any of its artists is offensive and untrue. We employ the highest ethical practices in our marketing and promotional campaigns. No amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in this pre-action submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music they want to hear. In response, this led to even more trolling for the Six God. Unfortunately for Drake, he did all this to himself. He should have accepted the L. Now he is petty and just had the label themselves say he lost in a polite way. His daddy Lucien grounded him real quick.
Damn.
Aside from the lack of strong evidence, another big issue Drake is facing is the notion of hypocrisy at play here. Back when he was beefing with Pusha T, it was none other than UMG that got his diss, The Story of Adidon, removed for him when it was at 21 million views. And throughout his career, both UMG and Spotify have gone out of.
You could try to get that thing removed as much it is that you want to, but Pusha T is the reason why it is that we even know publicly about with your son that you've been trying to hide from the damn world. He is the reason to why, bro. Like you tried, and you started that. And Pusha T was just like, I bet, watch what I do. I'll go ahead. Even if you take the video down, you still wouldn't be able to discredit the fact that you were indeed hiding a child, gang. Damn. And Pusha T said some other stuff about this, like your mother was never married, about your dad, all like Fuck, that's a lot to really just sit there and like, hey, take the video down. But he had legitimate proof. I would love to know, where did he get that source of information from? Who gave him that tidbit of information to be like, oh yeah, nah, gang, he's a dad. For real? Yeah, a deadbeat dad. Just like his daddy, deadbeat dad, like something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I would love to know who was the connect to give him that information. That shit is crazy.
Their way to promote him in ways that wouldn't be afforded to other artists. The funny thing will be when UMG says, fam, we've been botting your music for years. Why are you mad? Remember when Scorpion came out in 2018? Drake's face was plastered across every Spotify playlist to the point that some premium subscribers were demanding refunds. To make matters worse, there are also accusations that he did the same thing, with receipts emerging from pages suggesting that his team reached out to try and push negative narratives surrounding Dot. Amid all of the chatter around the lawsuit's flimsy claims, the only argument of value is the notion that they lowered the licensing rate by 30%, and this is proven to be true. It might forever change how business is conducted and blow open the monopoly that has existed in the industry for too long.
I have no dog in this fight. I like Kendrick's music, I like Drake's music. I also think both of them have used bots via UMG, whether they knew it or not.
Right.
What stood out to me in that paperwork was the accusation that UMG lowered their licensing rate by 30% for Not Like Us. Just a quick history lesson. How we even got to the value of what a stream is was based off Spotify and the three majors negotiating on what that value would be. What makes it even crazier is all three majors have actual stock and ownership within Spotify. That would be illegal in any other business in the world, but it's a music industry, so anything can fly. To the point that I worked at a major when Spotify went public, and they emailed all of us as employees and said, you cannot buy stock because that would be insider trading. Now imagine you're an artist and you know that the people that own your music plus the people that distribute your music, which is a whole separate tech company, are in cahoots to define what a dollar means within the music industry. And then you later find out that for one artist and one song, they devalued that dollar. You wouldn't have an issue with it?
Now, Drake might have a valid grievance if that is the case, but the problem is that he can't get the public on his side because there's no real belief that he's doing this for the greater good. My only problem is, why do we want to talk about this when Drake lost? This is the same engine that built his brand up. Stop helping him play victim. Drake is signed to literally the same machine. If this problem is as pervasive as people have presumed it is for years, standing up against it only when it affects you in a negative way isn't some act of bravery.
Yeah.
But even if that did happen, the biggest issue that his legal battle is going to face is that it's not in any way illegal to do that. Just listen to Audio Mac's Brian Zizuk, who said, record labels and distributors can opt their artists into Spotify's Discovery Mode, a program that boosts song recommendations to more listeners. In return, Spotify takes 30% commission, effectively reducing the royalty rate paid to the label. If Interscope opted Kendrick in to help boost Not Like Us without Kendrick's knowledge, the only party who should be upset is Kendrick, because it means taking a lower royalty. With evidence like that, what Drake is attempting to do begins to look more and more like an ill-planned idea. Because it's no exaggeration to say that this really might be catastrophic for his legacy. For starters, he's come at Kendrick's neck over something that is just par for the course of the industry. Back when it first happened, Joe Budden exposed the idea that outside help was brought in during the peak of the beef. But rather than viewing it as a bad thing, he felt that it was a tool at their disposal in war.
Not only do I not care that he used bots, but I knew he did.
Okay, cool.
Y'all didn't know that Kendrick used bots?
No, and I didn't care.
You thought that this was just the first time miraculously that a Drake record ever had more dislikes than likes, or you didn't know that that was bots?
But at the end of the day, this is all just speculation. And at the time, academics actually refuted the botting rumors via a source inside Spotify who said they were all organic.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I talked to my man from Spotify. I won't say the name right now, but legit Spotify nigga. He said, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what that person on your stream was talking about. Them Kendrick streams is real. That's what
I'm saying. What I did, I called the people that I know oversee those people that play like that. I PTR'd it on my floor. They said, whack, we didn't work that, we didn't touch that.
Now, the whole world is baffled by what went down, and he's even being trolled by people outside hip-hop like Shannon Sharp, who can't work out why this was his move.
he said the record didn't do the numbers that it did.
Right.
They inflated the numbers to make the song seem more popular than what it actually was.
Okay, I got that part.
Drake is the first guy to have 20 songs with at least 1 billion streams.
Yes, sir.
It's hard to say there's a rapper bigger worldwide than Drake.
Right.
Drake, bro, okay, he got one up on you. It happens. You take this kind of measure? Chad, I'm confused. Just let it, bro. He got you. Ocho, you know, we round there, we joning.
Right.
Guy get you. He get on you just right. Hey, ain't nothing you can do. It can't no comeback. He just got. Hey, bro, you got me today. Drake, he got you. It's okay, bro. You Drake. Kendrick got one up on you. Not the end of the world, bro.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that he went to this measure. Do you know how much money Drake has made off music? Do you know how big Drake is? He got a big ass jumbo jet.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake got to be worth $250 million, maybe even more. And somebody gets one off on you. I like Drake. I like Kendrick Lamar. But Kendrick Lamar got one off on you. Bro, you go to this?
Along the way, plenty of rappers ranging from J-Rock and Rhapsody to La Russell weighed in to ask if this is even possible within the realms of the culture. Legal action over losing a rap beef?
Wait, what is this? Hold on. Shout outs to Dante. I'm so proud, bro. It's been a long month, but through everything. Not only the record broke it, but he nailed it. Love y'all. Can't wait to get back home and hug my wife and son. He did it again. Hey, listen. Ari, send me your picture. I thought you took it. Gang. You said I gotta go back in the VOD to find it. Fudge. Somebody go back and find it.
My. Not like us at all. This is like when kids lose a fight at school and parents press charges. In fact, the general vibe is that when it comes to how to conduct yourself after a loss, this is the polar opposite of what the cultural guidelines say. And it's just another sign that his formerly handy disguise in hip-hop is now slipping, just as Kendrick predicted.
He just not hip. He don't get it. He's not hip. He's not hip.
I mean, he was.
No, he wasn't even the whole time. He's just incredible.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? He never been hip. He's incredible. He's an incredible talent.
Right.
He's like he could morph into anybody. He could do whatever. He can emulate like whatever. He's like incredible talent.
Okay.
But he's never been hip. He never been hip this whole time. That just ain't what he about. Because
you're saying he never was culturally.
He's never been cool.
People are now even giving Meek Mill props for how he took the L in his beef with
No, ain't no way. I see it. I see where you put it. That's hilarious.
Drake. The whole lawsuit seems like a contradiction, cause like, if he truly believes that he suffered economic harm since the beef, as he claims in the lawsuit, he should realize that taking this route isn't going to make things any better. The biggest challenge
I think honestly, thinking about this now, like in any form of business, like or PR or anything, I always talk about damage control. I tend to do this. I tend to think in a PR mindset often, even when it's not related to business. But I do it quite often. Somebody on his team should have did some level of a damage control of just like, hey, listen, this is what happened. Hey, let's clean this up. Let's try to like move forward within this because you got other things that's coming up. We got a tour it is that we can able to do. We can able to get you another brands. We can able to like, so to get you back into like the eye to where it's like, okay, you took the loss. All right, cool. You feel that way personally. Deal with all the stuff with the label on a private matter. We'll hire an attorney to look at that, to help you to negotiate with this and just keep moving forward. I feel like he should have done that. And mind you, the damage control didn't even have to be that huge, to be honest. It didn't even have to be that huge. It was just a little bit of a damage control. Compared to like how much money it is that this man have, the levels of like they've used bots for this man's music. Like I've showed y'all my Spotify. This shit already had Drake's face on there with a couple of the playlists anyway. I mean, yes, it could have done some level of hurt, but like this by far of this lawsuit is really going to hurt you the most. And record labels like to be very petty when it comes down to an artist to where it is that they don't feel is going to make them money, or you did something to where it is that now they're just like, to hell with you. That's not going to be a good look. Because even if you was to squash the beef, or let's just say it is like you just left it alone at this point, it was just like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna make me some money and stuff. It's probably, if anything, that's probably why it is he is going on tour. Because record labels give you advances and all the other stuff, but you have to bring that money back to the label, and usually with interest, with interest at that. So now, when it is that the label ain't really rocking with you, you make your money on tour. That's how all artists make money. It's through tour. You got to pay for a lot of things when it is you're underneath a contract. They give you advances and stuff like that. Yes, cool. But within those advances, you got to pay for like the studio times. You got to pay for like all the people that's on your team. People it is that like, assistants, stylists, going to private jets, like getting the food, hotels, travel expenses. Every single thing you do moving forward is a budget. There is no such thing as, oh, I'll be able to do this without that being cut from your deduction of what it is that you owe the label. So when you have that, that's why people go on tour. They're like, all right, cool. That's the actual one. The money it is that they made within that. All right, boom. You make that for yourself. Now, once the record label has their percentage paid, when everybody gets their deductions from that, whatever is left over is what it is that you make. It's worse with groups. It's worse with, like, we've seen this before. TLC has talked about this before. The prime example of how much money it is that they was making, and Pevitone or La Pevitone, or maybe an under version of Babyface Records. They wasn't making not much, and they was making they was selling CDs and units like within the millions, and they was not making no type of money. Plus, you get put into a different tax bracket. So that means it is now you got to pay all these people. You got to pay Uncle Sam. Then on top of it too, you get your money. That's really gonna hurt your pockets, gang.
Challenge he's facing now is that after the beef with Kendrick, his market value has dropped significantly. This action seems to stem from the fact that, being in a weaker position, he can no longer negotiate a better deal with Universal as he initially planned.
And they're probably looking at it and they're like, no, nigga, we'll give you like 500. And you know how they get Drake to bring his ass or bring his number a little bit down? Nigga, you just got spanked by Kendrick. Look, you're not with the culture feeling. What you mean? You want 700. We gave you 4 last time, nigga. We'll give you 450. Take it or leave it. 450, take it or leave it, nigga. And I can imagine Drake looking at them and saying, nigga, you on crack? Or maybe they were even more disrespectful. Yo, take 350, nigga. You know what Drake said? Say less. Yo, Oliver, buy that domain, 100gigs.com. We're gonna just drop it there. Let's see if it works. Yo, his labels didn't even acknowledge, other than claiming the songs as they eventually did. They did not. There's zero promo with any of the things he's dropped since the battle. None. Like, they're not touching it.
And now that he seems more disposable, they've reminded him who's really in charge. Because rather than going independent, Drake bet it all on his good relationship with Universal. In the aftermath of how this has gone down, Drake has got to be looking at his future prospects and wondering how much of his legacy has been tarnished. Left looking paranoid and now spiraling, just as Dot said on Euphoria. The thing that people seem to think is craziest of all is that while he's gone to war over alleged bots, he didn't sue Dot for defamation about the claims that he is literally a PDF file. Instead, he once again put the responsibility on UMG, claiming that they could have halted the release of a song which he says falsely accused him of being a sex offender. And while hip-hop wouldn't have respected it either way, the decision to bring lawyers into the equation the way he did opens a can of worms he could have done without.
Correct.
Particularly when, once again, there is an element of hypocrisy here, with Drake not only making claims about Kendrick's personal life in terms of alleged spousal abuse, infidelity, and even his kid being fathered by his PG-length partner Dave Free, but also allegedly putting money in the streets in an attempt to acquire more info on Kendrick's personal life. Would Drake have liked it if UMG stopped that? I don't think so. Live by the sword, die by it. In turn, making this whole situation just another victory lap for Dot. Now that the petition is out there, Drake is expected to keep a low profile, and according to academics, he is refusing to discuss it publicly.
This already is gonna tell me it's clearly not Drake, right? So Drake didn't tell her this. Again, first of all, I reached out to Drake too. Drake, he's not speaking on this, right? And he doesn't need to speak on it. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a lawsuit. You get what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, Not Like Us is still being sung all around the world. Even 6 months later, crowds are screaming it word for word, which makes it clear that, botting or not, the love people have for the track is undeniably real.
Yeah.
Instead of taking the L, Drake has made a misstep in terms of perception from the masses. And now, people like Wayno believe it's damaging in a way he can't come back from.
But one thing I will tell you is that there's no more grace for Drake. There's no more benefit of the doubt. It's none of that. And I know, some of y'all is probably looking like this. Looking like Steven from Django. You know what I'm saying? All tight, mad. Y'all can see this. Listen, this is one of the reasons why people call Drake a culture vulture. The more you listen to Euphoria, the more it makes sense. So, yo.
And many onlookers agree. In essence, what Drake now finds himself in is a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
Because even if this is about his bag, there's just no way that he comes out of this looking good
Making
from a
more money.
reputational standpoint.
Drake can expect from this either way. Drake and his team can expect from this either way. If he wins, to me, this looks terrible. If he loses, to me, he looks even worse. And the ramifications, should he actually win this? And now people are like, oh man, shoot, man, we got to start limiting rap battles. I mean, this dude, that's an attack at a much broader, much bigger cultural thing.
Now this yeah, because rap battles, we've always seen a level of a rap battle, but normally it goes into like some real street shit or somebody's getting harmed or stuff. I'm not condoning the violence, but this is something it is that does happen. It's known that like historically speaking of like, all right, somebody, you talk about certain things, somebody was getting poked, or someone was getting touched. Now this is to a point to where it is of a changing of how people rap about this. Now, I've mentioned this before. People were upset about the fact that they used YSL's lyrics during that entire, or Young Thug's lyrics during the whole Rico case that was against him. Now, how many more rappers moving forward who really is not about that rap life, that does not live the life it is that they perpetuate, if they lose a rap beef, who's to say it is that there's going to be an artist to go ahead and to now be like, oh, if Drake did it, he won his case. Let's say if he wins, he won his case. I bet you talk some stuff about me that's untrue. I ain't like it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck going into the booth at this point. I'm just going to sue you. I'm just going to go ahead and sue you for everything it is that you said at this point, and I'm going to get my money that way. That changes everything moving forward. Everything. Now it's just like, all right, cool. They ain't no getting into the booth and really like ruffling the feathers. Like you a type of person to go ahead and sue people. That is a rapper way of calling you an op. That don't look good. Win, still a lose. You still lose. Lose, you lose worse. Oh my gosh, this is terrible.
All because he decided not to keep it a friendly fade.
But let it never be said that he wasn't warned. Back when things were heating up, even his biggest cheerleader told him at the time that certain things he said on push-ups was opening the floodgates to something he might not be capable of dealing with.
Drake, you did the same thing twice now. You mentioned Virginia Williams or whatever, Pusha T's wife, and you saw that nigga took the gloves off, and we saw what happened. You mentioned Whitney, and Kendrick Lamar's wife name is Whitney. You have to be prepared for anything. There is no, oh nah, I can't believe you said that. No, because you're talking crazy already too. This is a knock 'em out slugfest. This is no holds bar. This is, I don't care what that nigga says, he could expose.
After such a series of
the fact that I actually have to agree with academics here is insane. I can't believe it is I'm saying this. What's up, Jay? I keep telling y'all this. If it's one thing it is that about with me, I'm gonna keep repeating the same words. I said this before and I'm gonna say this again. It's cool when it is like, especially man to man. It's cool when it's fine when it is like, okay, an exchange between two men. All right, cool. You trying to throw jabs at me, this is and this. Usually people could have like tough skin, or I'm gonna say men first because it could be with us, it could be with any us as women, it could be with anybody. It is, my they thems out there. It could be anybody. But when you start doing this man to man, you start throwing shots at each other. All right, cool. They'll be able to handle it or ignore it and whatnot. When you start to now go low, and now you start mentioning people's wives, their girls, their children, their mother. I keep telling y'all need to stop doing that. Y'all need to stop doing that. Anytime it is that you start mentioning a man's wife, all bets is off at this point. Now it's just like, whoa, like, if you gonna come for me solely. You gonna bring my wife into this? That she don't even know you like that? This ain't even had nothing to do with her for real. Now, at this point, now I don't gotta play fair with you no more. Now I can get a little petty. Now I can go ahead and I can, you know what I mean? Not condoning this. Now I can go ahead and I can put my hands on you because like the fuck is you talking about? You ain't about to sit there and mention her when it comes out like, yo, keep the beef with me. Keep it with me. I keep trying to tell y'all to stop doing this. You put people in these positions to where it is, and now they gotta go ahead and defend theirs. Like, if you want to see a man go ahead and crash out and then it's justifiable, do some snake shit like that and mention about with anybody with it. Like, it is that he loves the most. And I promise you it is, you ain't gonna make it out the same way it is that you did before you fixed your damn mouth to talk about it. Y'all cannot do that. And it's the same thing for us too. Like us as women, you meant like we like us as women, we're more of like, well, I hate to say ride or die, but we are. What did you like? You come at me crazy. All right, cool. I'm gonna check that energy. But what you not about to do? You ain't about to come for my man. You ain't about to come for my man. You ain't about to come for my husband, and you damn sure not about to come for my kids. Like, I don't know what the fuck you thought this was. You know what I mean? Like, people don't play around when it comes down to that. Drake, you've done this before, and this is absolutely correct. You mentioned Pusha T's fiance. They say, I bet. So now Pusha T was like, I bet. You want to mention about my fiance? Let the people know who it is that you chose as your Beyonce. You chose a whole corn star, an adult star, to be the person it is that's like, all right, cool. This is who it is I want to create a family with. That's what Pusha T did. He's like, I bet. This is what you want to do? Cool. Now I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, whoever gave Pusha T that information, like, just keep that nigga around. To find some information like that, like, oh yeah, he got a whole kid and he's been hiding his kid from the world type shit, like, you know. And he said like deadbeat motherfucker, like he said that shit in the song, in the diss. Leave people's wife and kids alone. Stop. Just leave people families alone, damn it. Leave it alone.
Of missteps, you would think that there was no more damage that could be done to Drake's image, reputation, or standing in the rap realm. But somehow, things just keep beginning to look worse, and to a lot of social media users, this is the point where the scales fully tip. This lawsuit isn't about music, it's about legacy, or rather the lack of one. It's a public confession that Drake fears for the future because it no longer has his name written on it. The irony, he's not even wrong. The beginning of the end of Drake's career didn't start at Like That or Not Like Us. It didn't start at 100 gigs flopping or GNX. It started today. Man, things aren't looking good for Drake. Meanwhile, Kendrick appears to be having the time of his life. As always, it's your boy Luesta, and I want to thank y'all for tapping in today's video. Make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe if you did enjoy it. And until next time, my friends, peace.
Man, yeah, this isn't looking too good, man. I don't know what the future's gonna hold. And then on top of the two, now we're hearing Lil Wayne is getting in the booth. This is not gonna look too good. Fudge. You know what it is, we're gonna go ahead and talk about it, react to it and everything like that. But listen, it's at this point in time, look, Drake, I get it. I get it. You ain't come from a well-to-do, like two-parent household and stuff like that, and now you're teetering. You're crossing the lines when it is that you are mentioning other people's like family members and stuff. You doing some snake stuff. You out here hitting up other people's baby moms, sending money to them, mentioning them within like disses and stuff like that. Like you've been kind of going around being the bully for like years when it comes down to stuff musically, because you felt like it is you was being untouchable. Ego is always going to be the death of anybody. Being too much of ego, too much of pride is going to be the main thing to what it is that makes you lose everything. Have some humility. I guess I gotta end out on that note. But Luesta, shout outs to you. Thank you for the video. Shout outs to y'all in the chat. Shout outs to you at home. I would love to know what your input is on this whole Drake lawsuit thing. Let me know within the comments, y'all. I will catch y'all in the next video.